Hello team, good morning. As you know, we are covering ISO 27001 complete course, and today we will start from information security management systems. Why security management system is required for assessing? As we know, our primary goal to protect the data from the organization point of view, because all the complete securities plus all these measurements we are doing to protect our data only. So incident management refers to the structured process of identifying, reporting, analyzing, responding to, and learning from the information security incidents to minimize their impact and prevent reoccurrences. What are the responsibilities and procedures? Reporting information security events, reporting information security weaknesses, assessment and decisions on the information security events, response to the information security incidents. We will discuss in detail. Let me open the notepad here. Okay. Let's start with the basic term. What is security incident? So basically, if or if from the organization point of view, if any breaches of data happen, or we can simply say if our confidentiality, integrity, and availability impacted, then it would be considered as a security incident. If I can talk about the confidentiality part, then if there is a folder and in-house employees are trying to accessing that confidential folder, if they regardless they are not authorized to do, and accidentally if access has been successful, in this case our confidentiality breached, means this is a part of the security incident, because to make it success you need to generate the multiple traffics, and that multiple traffic actually that is unauthorized. That's why it is called as a security incident in terms of the confidentiality. In terms of integrity, if we are transferring our data from source to destination, and in middle in the attack, if someone has extracted your data, then it is also a part of the security incident. In terms of availability, if for example we have multiple websites, and because of multiple traffic generated, regardless of in-house traffic and external traffic, if our services becomes down and availability impacted, and services may be catered from the another nodes, so availability is also a part of the security incident, we can say. So what is the process to tackle the security incidents? Let me make down here. Okay. If any one of this data in terms of confidentiality, integrity, and availability happen, then automatic incidents to raise in the ServiceNow or whatever are the application used by the organization. And there is an notification process to inform your interested parties, because if data breaches in your organization, then you need to inform to your interested parties within a certain timeline. That certain timeline defined as 72 hours by GDPR, and notification to be sent out by emails, messages, etc. Okay. After uh, after analyzing the security incidents, you need to prepare a detailed incident report and need to circulate to the interested parties as well. This part I am talking about. So security incidents talks about who is the responsible person and what are the procedures to handle it, reporting information security events, reporting information security weaknesses, assessment and decisions on the information security events, and response on the information security incidents. There is a separate part on the security incident management, which we will discuss in the coming sessions. We have a dedicated session for the same. uh, Apart from this, we need to learn from our past that okay, what are the security incidents we faced and what are the workaround we had done it, make a risk register and make all the entries, because security incidents are not the common one. And at last we have the collection of evidences. Next is information security aspects of the business continuity. What is business continuity? Business continuity is a process where, in case of the disaster, we need to run our business anyhow. To run the business continuity, we have multiple options. For example, disaster recovery side, simulations part, high availability part, even data backup is also a part of the business continuity. Business continuity refers to an organization's ability to continue critical operations during and after the disruptions, ensuring minimal impact on the business processes, customers, and regulatory compliances. What are the subcontrols? A.17 talks about planning in information security continuity. 17.1.2 talks about implementing information security continuity, and verifying, reviewing, and evaluating the information security continuity redundancies for information processed facilities. If we talk about in terms of the business continuity, we have certain terms for example RTO, RPO, and what are the evidences you need to make sure that yes, our business continuity is happening properly. So collection of evidence you need to do in case of the surveillance of audit, because during renew of ISO or any other compliance certifications, auditor will ask how you handle the organization in surveillance period. Next is next is a compliances part. So compliances means what? Compliances means meeting the standards and security frameworks to ensure the stakeholders trust your organization are maintaining the complete security postures what are required to enable. Compliance refers to ensure that the organization meets all the applicable legals, regulatory, contractual, and internal requirements related to information securities. A.18 talks about identification of applicable legislations and contractual requirements. A.18 talks about intellectual property rights. A.18 talks about protection of records, privacy of protection of personal identifiable informations, regulations of cryptographic controls, independent review of information security, compliance with security policies and standards, and technical compliances review. What are the examples? Like your organization is willing to compliance with GDPR, CCPA, PDPA. In terms of the financial regulations, we have multiple compliances level. Example SOX, RBI guidelines, TSAX, etc. Industry specific, we have PCI DSS for those organizations who process the payment data, HIPAA for healthcares. If we talk about from the cyber laws perspective, we have national cyber crime and IT security regulations, and contractual obligations. We have SLAs, NDAs, and or vendor agreements. So compliances are the major part of the organization, because compliances are the one who describes your organizations to the outer world that yes, XYZ organization are fulfilled with the compliance. That's why they They already good in stakeholder trusts. They are completely capable to manage if any risk are generating. Compliance talks about you are accepting, you are mitigating the risk properly with respect to the impact. That is why compliance is required. Next topic describes about the people controls. These controls having 8 sub-controls started with the screening of employees. Screening of employees is a people control focused on ensuring that employees, contractors, and third parties are properly vetted before employment or engagement to risk reduce the risk of insider threats or unqualified personnel handling sensitive informations. Objectives to ensure that individuals who will have access to the organization's information systems or facilities are appropriately screened, qualified, and reliable, thereby reducing the security risk. Screening of employee are the major part because they are the one who are supposed to handle your data. है ना? So you need to make the regular checks whether your employees are capable to do the organizational courses and what are the competencies of the employees. Also, you need to check what are the roles and responsibilities does employees are going to handle, and before that you need to check their background checks and any criminal records are there or not, for example. A.6.2 talks about the terms and conditions of the employment. Terms and conditions of employment is a people control aimed to ensure that employees, contractors, and subcontractors understand and agree to their information security responsibilities as part of their employment or contractual agreement. What are the objectives? To make sure that information security responsibilities and obligations are clearly communicated, understood, and agreed upon by individual before they are granted access to organization information or systems. From the TPRM perspective, we need to review the full access for the critical vendors because vendors are the one who are hiring the resources as per their own competencies, as per their own roles and responsibilities, as per their past experience. So if your organization is willing to take the vendors on board, then you must have a complete risk management process on table, so that you have you have at least a clear visibility that who are supposed to handle your data from the vendor side. Are they capable or not? That's why third party risk management is required. In information security awareness education and trainings, information security awareness education and training ensures that all employees, contractors, and relevant third parties are aware of information security policies, trained to handle security risk, and continuously educated to maintain and improve the security practices. What are the objective for this? To make sure all personnel understand their information security responsibilities, are equipped with the knowledge and skills to support the organization's information security management system, ISMS. To make your employees uh, discipline, or every organization have a disciplinary policies where they describe that okay how to handle assets, for example, or how to behave in organization, so that your brand values and ethics values should be maintained. Disciplinary process ensures that the organization has a formal and documented process to handle the violation of information security policies, procedures, and contractual obligations by employees, contractors, or third parties. What are the objectives? To ensure that breaches of information security are addressed promptly, fairly and consistently, discouraging negligent or malicious behavior that could compromise the ISMS. What are the controls they are saying? The organization must establish and document a disciplinary process for security violations. Means those employees who are not adhering the the disciplinary process. Uh, the if any employees are not completing the codes and competencies on time designed by the organization is also a part of the disciplinary actions. How to behave, any kind of harassments, right? All these things comes under the disciplinary actions, disciplinary and a disciplinary process. In disciplinary policies, we have a clear define of what constitute a breach of security policies or controls. Apply actions that are proportionate to the severity and impact of the violations. Ensure the process is communicated to all employees and third parties during onboarding. Always we can see the discussion of the vendors if we talk about the in-house policies, because vendors are the one who are the major part of the context of the organization. Because in vendor environments, if any something mishappening or experience, then your organization ISMS would be directly impacted. That's why reviewing of the vendors are very much required. Confidentiality agreement is another part of the human resources part. 8.6.5 talks about confidentiality or non-closure agreements, ensures that employees, contractors, and third parties understand and formally agree to their responsibilities for protecting sensitive informations. The objective columns are saying that confidential and sensitive information is protected during and after employment contracts or business relationship, reducing the risk of unauthorized disclosure, misuse, or data breaches. 8.6.5 saying that you need to identify a situation where confidential agreements are required, where vendors or in-house organizations are handling the critical data. Ensure agreements cover all relevant information security and privacy requirements. Review and update agreements periodically to reflect changes in rules, legal, or regulatory requirements. What are the responsibilities after termination or change of employment? Responsibilities after termination or change of employment ensures that when an employee, contractor, or third party relationships and or changes their access rights, their security responsibilities are managed effectively to prevent unauthorized access or misuse of organizational assets. What are the objectives? Or organizational informations and assets during and after the termination or role of the personnel. Communicate and enforce ongoing confidentiality obligations after employment and or a role change. Revoke or adjust access rights promptly when a user leaves or change their rules or transferred from the departments. Ensure that any organizational assets, devices, ID cards, keys, access tokens are returned on time. Because we have multiple authorities to be contacted during the services, so contact with authorities ensures that an organization maintains for formal and structured communications channel with relevant authorities to effectively handle security incidents, legal inquiries, regulatory compliances, or emergencies part. For this organization to quickly effective interact with the authorities when required for incident response, compliances, investigations, or legal matters. What are the control requirements mentioned in A.6.7? Identify and document authorities relevant to their business and sector. Maintain up-to-date contact information for these authorities. Establish procedures for communications during security incidents or regulatory events. Ensure designated staffs are trained to communicate with these authorities appropriately. So how are you updating to the regulators? See here, if I can scroll up down a bit, these are saying with contact with authorities. Okay, what are the list of authorities? We have authorities, for example, regulators. Okay, we have authorities, for example, if we are applying for, SOX or NIST or SOC 2, so who are the single point of contact who are doing the, audits are also considered as a authority. Apart from this, if we have any industry specific, if we have any industry specific regulations, for example, we have TSEX for automobile sectors, right? We have HIPAA for medical, etc. These are also considered as authorities, but as per the ISO 27001, authorities only deals with the country's regulatories and who is directly controlling your organization. For example, in PCI DSS we have Visa card, right? We have MasterCard, etc. How to contact with the special interested groups? So contact with the special interested groups focus on maintaining proactive relationship with the external groups, forums, and communities that provide information or support related to cybersecurity risk management regulations or emerging threats. What are the objectives? The objectives are your organization to ensure stay updated on emerging security trends, threat vulnerabilities, best practices through industry collaborations and information sharings. What are industry collaborations? Assume that you are doing a business in terms of the financials. Okay, you are the financial services provider. So in that case, you must have a tie-up with the regulatories. For example, RBI in India, or you have a common community groups from where you can get at least an idea that is what is going on, right? What are the risks experienced by the competitive organizations in this. So you need to have your proactive in terms of the vulnerabilities, in terms of the cyber security, in terms of what are the new regulatories coming in now, and what are the emerging threats which have a potential to destroy your organization. That's why the industry collaboration and information sharings. Okay, Control 8.6.8 says that organization must identify relevant special interested groups as your professional forums. Establish memberships or contacts to receive threat intelligence alerts or updates. Use information gained from these groups or improve internal security practices. Physical controls having 14 controls started with the 8.7. Physical means what? Anything which is present hard in the hardware form, like CCTV, we have, carriage, luggage check, etc. Physical security perimeters generally used from the data center point of view. So physical security perimeters ensure that physical access to the secure areas is controlled and protected to prevent unauthorized access, damage, or interference with the information assets. What are the objectives? To establish secure physical boundaries that protect the organization's information systems, equipments, or other critical assets from unauthorized physical entries, environmental threats, or damages. Organization must define physical security perimeters, example server rooms, data center, records, storage, etc. Implement entry controls to allow only authorized personnels, protect perimeters against unauthorized physical access, damage, or interference, if any. Clearly mark and secure sensitive or restricted zones. Physical entry control focuses on managing and monitoring physical access to secure areas to prevent unauthorized entry and protect sensitive assets. To ensure to ensure that only authorized personnel can access secure areas and that entry and exit activities are logged, monitored, and controlled to prevent securities breaches. 8.7.2 asks that restrict physical access to secure areas, server data centers, archive rooms, etc. Use appropriate access control mechanism. Apart from this, you also need to maintain records for entry and exiting points, that who is visiting, monitor monitor and review access activities regularly. You also need to secure offices, rooms, and facilities. Securing offices, rooms, and facilities focuses on ensuring that physical working environments, including offices, rooms, and other facilities, are secured against unauthorized access, environmental threats, and physical risk. These are the objectives. You also need to make sure that unauthorized access, damages, or any interference to information systems and facilities by securing the physical spaces where organizational operations takes place. For example, data center. 8.7.3 talks about you should implement physical and environmental security measures to protect offices, rooms, and facilitated by preventing unauthorized physical access, protecting assets from theft, vandalism, fire, flooding, or other kind of threats. Ensuring safeguards are in place for areas where sensitive activities are going to occur. 8.7.4 talks about the physical securities monitoring, how you monitor it. This section ensures that all secure areas and critical facilities are continuously monitored to detect and respond to unauthorized access, security incidents, or environmental threats in a timely manner. These are the objectives. Okay, to monitor physical environment effectively so that any unauthorized or suspicious activities are identified, investigated, and addressed promptly to protect organizational assets. 8.7.4 organization should implement monitoring mechanism. For example, you have motion sensor, you have alarms, you have CCTV, you have fire alarms, you have fire extinguisher, etc. Ensure coverage of all critical areas, including data centers, including server rooms or areas storing sensitive informations. You also need to keep logs and recording for a defined retention period. In any case, if you require the CCTV or any other controls, then it should be available all the times. Regularly reviewing and test monitoring systems to ensure the reliability as per the ISO 27001. 8.7.5 talks about how you protect against physical and environmental threats. This control focuses on safeguarding organizational facility systems and assets from physical hazards and environmental risks such as fire, flood, earthquakes, theft, or vandalisms. The objective of physical and environmental threats that your organization should be protected against natural, accidental, or malicious threats that could disrupt your operations, that could disrupt the damage equipments or lead to data loss. Organization also should implement securities and safety measures to minimize the impact of the environmental hazards. For example, we have fire, we have floods, we have earthquake and high level storms. And physical threats also we need to make sure in terms of theft, vandalism, and unauthorized entries. infrastructure failures, power outages, cooling systems breakdowns. Employees to work from a secure areas. As mentioned in ISO 27001-22 version, they specifically focus on the protecting secure areas because they are the one who should be at least safe, such as data centers, data server rooms, storage facilities by implementing strict procedures for personnel and activities within those areas. The objective sections are saying that activity should be conducted within secure areas are controlled, monitored, and authorized, reducing risk of data breaches, theft, sabotage, and equipment damage. Every organization must to define the enforce policies and procedures for working inside secure areas, ensure only authorized personnel perform activities within these areas. Only applying the controls are not enough. Also, you need to monitor and supervise critical activities whenever necessary, for example, audits and all. Apart from this, you need to maintain your area in terms of the clear desk and screen policies. This section 8.7.7 helps to reduce the risk of unauthorized access, loss, or damage to informations by ensuring the sensitive informations are not left unattended. You need to make sure that confidential physical documents, storage medias and devices, etc., USB drives, portable drives, are removed from desk or locked away when not in use. Means you need to save all these external storage media in the locker. Use lockable storage drawers, cabinets for documents or devices when the workplace is unattended. To equipment setting and protections, what does this means? Means, this is also a type of risk of environmental threats, hazards, and unauthorized access to equipment by properly setting and physically protecting organizational assets and control requirements for this are discussing about the control must ensure the equipments, servers, networking areas, laptops, printers, and another IT assets is sited securely or not, where it reduces the risk exposure to unauthorized accesses, theft, accidental damage, fire, floods, environmental hazards. Also, you need to have adequate protections, use physical barriers like secure rooms, locked racks, restricted areas, access areas, install environmental safeguards such as fire detection, suppression systems, and temperature and humidity controls, surge protections, and UPS for power stability. Safe cabling and routing should be in a well-dressed manner where conceal or protect cables to prevent damage or unauthorized tapings. Level critical connections but restrict unnecessary visibility to outsiders. Monitoring and maintenance but conduct a regular inspection of the equipment's placements or conditions. Implement preventive maintenance to ensure security control remain effective. What are the securities of set of premises to ensure the assets used of organizations premises, example laptops, mobile devices, USB drives, printed documents are protected from loss, theft, damage, or unauthorized accesses. Why this control is required? Because organization must implement security measures for assets when taken outside controls premises, including authorization and accountability. Authorization and accountability are the most favoritism term in ISO 27001, where they describe that who are the person who are accessing the features of applications or the physical controls. What are the level of permission they have to access that particular one? Accountability means who is, name the person who is supposed to perform the task. If any something missing or any, unusual happens, then who is responsible for that? That is called accountability. So, organization to define a formal approval process for taking organizational assets off premises. Also, maintain assets register to track assignments and returns. Assign ownership and responsibilities to the employer or the contractors. In physical protections, use physical locks, laptop locks, lockable bags, or secure cabinets when assets are not in use. Also, avoid leaving assets unattended in public areas or vehicles for any outsider. Consider insurance coverage for high value or critical assets. What are the logical and securities part? In this, you need to enable full disk encryptions and strong authentications on laptops and mobile devices. Use virtual private networks for secure remote connections. Ensure automatically lock and timeout configurations are in place. Regularly update security patches and endpoint protection tools. Also, you need to make sure that sensitive information should be handled. You need to prohibit storing unencrypted sensitive data on portable devices unless justified and approved. You also need to, train the employees or users to report loss or theft immediately. This part is very important because if something happening in your organization and your employees are not knowing that yes, this is a threat, so in this case employees should know that what need to report and what need to avoid. You need to periodically review of premises assets usage logs and compliances part include off-site risk assessment and internal audits. In terms of storage media, to ensure the storage media containing informations digitally or physically are protected from unauthorized accesses, misuse, damage, or loss throughout their complete life cycle from creation to disposals. For this, organization must implement security control for all types of storage media such as hard drives, SSDs, USB drives, backup tapes, CDs, DVDs, and even paper documents. To manage this, you need to maintain a register for storage media used within the organizations and also assign ownership and responsibilities for each medium. Secure storage and handling part, you need to store sensitive media in locked cabinets or safes when not in use. Control access to storage areas, data centers, and archives. Use environmental controls to prevent physical damage, humidity, or temperature issues. For protecting the informations, make sure that encrypt sensitive data stored on portable device. Apply access control permissions to digital storage devices. Use tamper evident seals for physically media during the transportations. Transfer of media talks about how to ensure procedures for moving storage media between sites or to third parties. Use tracking, logs, or courier documentation. For accountability, retention and disposals talks about follow a media retention policies aligned with legal, regulatory, and business requirements. Securely erase or destroying media before disposals or reuse, discussing shredding and certified destructions. but the main control is left, which is a six one. You need to train employees on safe handling, storage, and disposal practices for media. Because as we discussed earlier, that employees should know that what to report and what to avoid. In organization, if any mishappening is there and employees are not knowing what is the potential impact for this, there is no use to spend a lot of money over the technologies, over the peoples, and over the processes. So it's very much required that you need to train your in-house and external employees also. External means vendor employees. You also need to make a risk assessment, that how the rules and the responsibilities designed for the vendors, because your data is also handling by them. So only GRC person, only governance, risk, and compliances associates to make sure that these all things are happening, uh, you know, um, according to the policies, according to the documents designed by your in-house organizations. What are the supporting utilities for this? To ensure that supporting utilities such as power, water, cooling, heating, and communication networks are protected and maintained to prevent disruptions, damage, or unavailability of information processing facilities and assets. You also need to identify all utilities that support IT infrastructure and critical processes such as power supply, electricity backup generators, UPS, HVAC systems are working properly or not, right? Cooling systems, data centers, server rooms, water supply for fire suspensions or coolings, right? Communication lines and internet connectivity are not fluctuating. So all these things you need to make sure. Redundancies and backup, how your organizations are managing. So implement backup systems like uninterruptible power supply, UPS, or diesel generators, or you know other kind of regulators within the electric power supply. Use dual network connections or failover internet lines for business critical systems. Your backup should be regularly tested, at least once in a quarter. For physical and environmental protections, you must need to review the cabling and utility equipment from physical damage or unauthorized access. What are the fire suspension systems are functionally and inspected periodically? Also, you need to make sure for this. You also need to install environmental monitoring systems for temperatures, humidity, and water leaks. Maintenance and monitoring part are another, big pillar. Develop and document maintenance scheduled for critical utility equipment. Monitor utility performance continuously, for example, alarms for outage or faults, if any. Conduct periodically risk assessment for utility failure scenarios. What are the incidental response readiness? You also need to create a response plan to handle utility failures or disruptions. Again, train employees on emergency protocols to protect equipment and data part. Evidence for audit you also need to collect. Utility maintenance records and service contracts. What are the logs of generator and UPS testing? You need to make sure. Environmental monitoring reports, example, temperature logs, alarm systems, documentations of redundancies, plans, and failover testings. Risk assessment and incident reports related to the utility failures. What is failover testing, guys? Failovers are the when one appliances, one server, or any one node of any facility goes down, then the complete business would be, uh, you know, have the backup nodes, right? If any one node goes down, then other nodes to cater the request. to protect power and telecommunication cabling, carrying data, or supporting information services from interceptions, interference, or physical damages. Organization to make sure that all critical cablings ensure, which includes power network and telecommunications lines, is secure against environmental, accidental, and malicious threats. What are the appliances organization is using? Review is required to ensure that equipment is maintained reliably and securely to support confidentiality, integrity, and availability of informations. Control requirements you need to establish and implement process procedures to maintain equipments, example servers, network devices, laptops, printers, HVAC systems, without compromising the security. 7.14 talks about the secure disposal or reuse of the equipments to ensure that all the sensitive datas to ensure that all the sensitive data are licensed and securely removed or protect when equipment is disposed of, reused, or transferred, reducing the risk of data leaks, unauthorized access, or regulatory violations. Control requirement talks about organizations must establish procedures to handle the secure disposal, return, or reuse of informations, process equipment such as servers, laptops, desktops, USB drives, printers, storage devices, and mobile phones. Because securely disposing of reuse of equipments are the major part. Um, we can also relate this to the vendors who are going to terminate, right? In case of end of life or whatever would be the reason. So how they are, you know, what is the disposal conditions? Okay, how you are managing the disposing kind of things, how you are ensuring that yes, your data would be removed from the vendor's premises or vendor's applications. So data destruction certificate you need to cater from the vendors or from a third party audit. So physical and environmental controls are very important from the ISO perspective. From the next sessions, we will learn what are the technological controls. Around 34 controls are there. These are the backbones of the organizations. We will discuss from the next sessions. So, if you are planning to learn or if you are preparing for interview cracks, then we are providing a similar offers for you in governance, risk, and compliance. We are giving trainings of ISO 27001, GDPR, um, NIST, SOC, SOC 2, CPRM, PCIDSS, with implementation facilities as well. So you can do the comment or you can do your you know you can also send us email on rajveersingaug@gmail.com. I hope guys these sessions are beneficial for you. If you have any queries, you can make your comments. I will definitely pick up your comments. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.